Hi, welcome to Mecanique Sportive's YouTube channel. I've added a new section where I test pre-owned vehicles with their owners. Today, I'm with my close friend, Emeric. Hi, Nico. Hello, Emeric. Thank you for coming on the channel with your Tesla Model 3 Performance. So this is a car that you acquired some time ago. We're going to talk a little bit about everything, just like we've already done with some cars on the channel. So the goal is to invite car owners, subscribers of the channel. Emeric has been a loyal subscriber for a long time, and to give you real feedback as a user. What about used car prices and related topics? What are the pros, cons, and everything in between? So what I'm going to do is grab the camera here and we're going to go see Emeric, who's going to show us his car. So what kind of car is it?
Emeric, so a 2019 Tesla Model 3, a performance version? Okay, so why did you choose this car? Well, I'm not really pro-electric to begin with, but I simply chose them because I drive about 40,000 kilometers a year. And I needed a vehicle that wouldn't cost too much in energy, in maintenance, and that would be as versatile as possible, that's all.
Okay. Before this one, what kind of car did you have?
I've had a lot of vehicles, and vehicles that are totally different, but I've had Porsches, Vipers, Corvette, C63S, and a whole bunch of nice toys.
So it's strange?
As a change, but for professional use, considering the purchase cost, maintenance and performance, well, here I am with a Tesla.
It's true that in terms of performance, it's still quite an impressive car. If I remember correctly, I think it's the equivalent of about 550 horsepower. It's 3 seconds. Going from 0 to 100 in just 3 seconds is impressive. Few sports cars can achieve that. In the end, for them to do 0 to 100 in 3 seconds, I think it's around 3 seconds, it's an M5 CS that has 625 horsepower.
The advantage is that it puts the power down to the ground.
And above all, it costs nothing in fuel. Exactly. So for example, you before, in your professional car, let's talk about professional cars. You had a Mercedes.
I had a
CLA. And did you really notice a real difference in terms of fuel consumption? And finally, the budget that having a combustion vehicle entailed compared to an electric one.
Per year, it's simple. So aside from the data that's on the Tesla app per year, I was spending about 5,000 euros on fuel, and now I'm at about 1,800 euros on electricity.
That's a significant difference. You see, since you used to drive a lot, that also meant a lot of vehicle maintenance on top of the cost difference.
Yes, there was an annual budget, so it varied depending on the maintenance, but it was about 500 to 1,000 euros per year for maintenance. Whereas now, apart from 2 rear tires that I changed over 40,000 kilometers, I've done about 40,000, 45,000 kilometers. Since I've had it, I've only had to change 2 tires.
Okay, so in terms of maintenance, there's basically nothing to do in the end. Maybe the windshield washer fluid needs to be replaced from time to time?
Yes, by the way, I need to do that. And I also had the front suspension arms taken care of under warranty.
Okay, that's a known issue, I think, on Tesla models. That's right. So you went to a Tesla center, you made an appointment on the app?
On the app, I arrived, I didn't meet anyone. We're at Tesla, so you just leave the vehicle in the parking lot. A ranger does the maintenance. After a few hours, you receive a notification on the app. The replacement was done under warranty.
Okay, did you stay at Tesla during this operation, or did they give you a loaner vehicle?
There's a dedicated space with Wi-Fi where you can bring your tablet or laptop and keep working. And then you just wait patiently to get a notification on the app.
They accepted it under warranty with everything included. Yes, okay, this car, how many kilometers did you buy it at and for what price?
So it was in October 2023, I bought it. 38,000 euros for 38,000 kilometers. At the time, it was a good deal. Today, they're much cheaper. I currently have a 2019 Tesla Model 3 with approximately 90,000 kilometers on it. It's a Phase 1 model. With this mileage, we're more around 27,000, 28,000 euros, roughly.
Okay, so around 100,000 kilometers, it's about, let's say, 27,000 euros. Yes, roughly. For a car that still has almost 550 horsepower, ultimately, you'll have virtually no maintenance, which costs very little. It still has a nice look, this one, with this blue. So if I remember correctly, there was blue, gray, black, red, and white. The standard version came first, followed by other optional versions. So this is the performance version. It had some unique features, if I'm not mistaken. There were rims similar to turbines, but not exactly turbine ones. 20-inch rims?
Red caliper one.
A bit bigger than standard, I think.
That's right. The chassis is a bit lower and slightly modified. Both the dual motor and performance versions around 500 horsepower. And we also had the small carbon spoiler.
That's the little touch that made us
really recognize
the performance models. So this is real carbon fiber.
Knowing that originally it's a satin finish, but like many things, that's one of the flaws with Tesla. Well, the paint isn't very high quality and the satin carbon finish isn't either. Actually, I had it changed to glossy because it was starting to blister with...
Over time. Okay, so you had this taken apart? Yeah, that's right. The little Tesla lettering, so that's what you find on the new ones, I think. Yeah, I had it changed because...
Same, I didn't really like it either.
The logo, I thought this lettering looked nicer. It's true that it looks classy and it makes the car a little more modern in the end. And here, the dual motor. You can see that someone didn't want to shift gears and wasn't letting go of the clutch. One of the major advantages of electric cars is that they are completely silent, which can be both beneficial and problematic. If you like cars, you'll appreciate the pretty crazy 550 horsepower we have here. You, especially since you've driven a lot of cars, it's still always pretty surprising even today.
The power is surprising. At first, there's always the frustration of being in a vehicle that's certainly high performing, but when it comes to the auditory sensations, there's really nothing. It's true that going from some vehicles I've had and that you know from everyday life that you sometimes drive, although it's a bit frustrating, we have a comfortable driving experience and oddly enough, we adapt to it. Maybe it's age that makes you appreciate the silence, but for me still...
You see, I'm just as silly, maybe even sillier than you. I love things that go vroom vroom all the time. I love Porsches, flat sixes, V10s, V12s and so on. And the louder it is, the more fun I have. But I admit that for everyday life, having that touch of peace, comfort and serenity, I still feel like I'm in my own bubble. And especially Tesla, they really have something good, which is that they use pretty thick glass, so it's actually well soundproofed. I recently tried the Model Y and it has laminated glass on all the windows and it was super quiet. On the latest ones,
the weak point of the first versions is the main issue. Apart from having a system that is not a heat pump heating system, whether it's for the battery or for the cabin, the main weakness of my 2019 model is its single glazing at the front. As a result, on the highway we're going to have a bit more wind noise, etc. That's one of the downsides of the Phase 1 models. You can't have it all, but that's how it is.
But it's not extremely noisy on the highway either. No, it's really not.
Dramatic, but it's true that we have such silence that even the slightest noise can become something that could potentially alert us. Electric cars aren't louder than combustion engines. We just notice every little sound more because there's no engine noise to mask them.
We hear more rolling noises and air sounds because there are no vibrations or engine noise, but it's still the same. Personally, I think it's a nice car. The performance in this setup has a little extra. It's really simple, as there's not much more to it besides this little spoiler. But with the blue color, I think it looks incredible. We have the charging ports on the sides. How do you charge your device? What is your charging method? Do you go to the supercharger? Do you charge at home or at the supermarket?
So we live in the Paris region, so when I'm around my home on a daily basis, in the evening I come home, I recharge with a charging station that doesn't run very fast. By the way, I'm barely at 3 kilowatt hours, but that's enough for me. At night it recharges and I'm very happy. I reach 80% in the morning, so everything's fine. Then, when I go on long trips, I use the superchargers. That represented, I think, about 15 to 20% of my charges over the past few months, the supercharger.
And do you often do basically Paris, Marseille, or really the south? Yes?
When I travel to the south, I do use the superchargers because it's really super convenient. It's easy to use, it charges automatically to your account, and that's it. It's pretty fast and efficient.
Okay, and have you ever had any problems with the superchargers? Has it always worked? Not too many people waiting or anything like that?
Once, it happened to me during a really busy holiday period when it was very crowded. Indeed, the charging speed was a bit reduced. I waited a little bit, but overall I've never really encountered any real
difficulties. Honestly,
I was scared at first. This transition from combustion engine to electric was one of my fears. And in the end, honestly, it's not really a problem.
Okay, so the usage, in the end, you might have that fear. For now, let's say that not all cars in France are electric, so not everyone has an electric car. Indeed, when 100% of cars are electric, we can ask ourselves that question. But for now, even in 2025, there might be a few people sometimes, like you said, but it's rare in the end.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Honestly, it's really not that much of a bother.
Okay, so with this car, you changed a few little things. Do you think the Tesla experts will notice? But in terms of the little things, can you tell us, I think, about the car? It has...
Well, first of all, besides the fact that people had scraped all the curbs in the 92 when I bought it, which isn't surprising on the performance models since the tires don't protect the rims at all. And that's even on the Phase 2 models starting from 2021. The rims, they're turbines in this case, I think. But then they're even less protected.
Because here, though, there's the little edge.
But actually,
He still is. There, it's still okay.
with the Michelin ones, but with the Hankook ones on the rear, it offers far less protection. It's not permitted in this situation.
It's really on the surface and you barely touch it. That's it.
And originally they were made of metal, kind of satin finished. And so, well, I had the edge almost polished with little pieces of aluminum. It was great. So I had them redone in aluminum gray to match the original chrome pack.
That was a good idea from the guy behind the camera who told him, go ahead, do it. Aluminum wheel color, he said to me, yeah, you're right. I followed him and I
Did the right thing, because it's true that dark wheels tend to make the volume look smaller. And here it highlights the 20-inch short spring a bit more because I thought it was a bit high. To be honest, in parking lots, sometimes in Paris,
chassis.
tends to scrape. And wheel spaces, so shims are because otherwise the rims were a bit too tucked in. So yeah, it was simple, but those little things allowed me to enjoy it a bit more. The look of the Tesla, which I find a bit bland. Let's be honest, I'm not a big fan of Tesla to begin with. And so I wanted a color that was a bit different. And I also needed a pair for the performance aspect, but also for the look. Because otherwise I think it would have been complicated to make this transition.
While the basic Model 3 may not be everyone's dream car, I must say yours has something special that catches my eye every time I see it. And it's true that lowering it a little bit, even if it's not much, maybe 1 or 2 centimeters less, makes a difference. It radically changes the car, the spaces in the end, just widening it a little. I think even in terms of handling, for you it must make quite a difference. So we can see the small spaces here. What do you have, 20 millimeters?
So 20 in the back, 15
in the front. I don't know if you can see well here. The wedge, that's it. It's pretty hard to show you, that's it. It allows you to properly widen the car. And honestly, even if you took it to the track, I think you could have some fun. Because already a standard Model 3 performance is really nice. Does Emeric want to take it to the track? Are you interested? No, thank you. No, not at all. No, it's fine. It's perfect for daily use. But there you go. We have a trunk in the front. We have the trunk in the back. The trunk in the back is actually quite spacious. I took notes to ensure accuracy. The trunk space is 650 liters. The Model 3 Performance featured a drift mode, allowing all power to be sent to the rear wheels for an enjoyable driving experience. The dual motor model. 3 Performance had a unique feature that wasn't available in other models. We had enough to have a bit of fun, a lot of power and all that. Let's say it was pretty standard. All the options are always included. We had options for the color, the seats, the rims, I think. No, the rims were on the Performance model. No, it was the color.
seats. So white or black, as soon as you chose white, it was an option. The colors were likely blue, red or gray. Most were white and black due to an extra charge for color. And the autopilot, so this one has the full self-driving, so it was an option, I think, at the time for 7,500 euros, I think. So there you go, you use the autopilot a lot. Yes, I use it quite a lot. Honestly, it's pretty effective, so I use it frequently, especially on long trips. That's when...
Still, you can also put the tow hitch on.
A performance, I don't think so, I don't think...
The Tesla Model 3 seemed to have this option, but I'm unsure if the Performance model did. Just recapping. Moreover, yours is in excellent condition.
So I also have a paint protection film on the bumper and the headlights because, let's be honest, the main issue with Teslas is the subpar quality of the paint, varnish and alignment, which is a common problem with American cars.
Of course.
The quality of the paint and varnish isn't necessarily up to par, and since my bumper had been repainted when I bought it, I protected it right away. To prevent the front end from looking like a constellation.
Okay, so paint protection film, for people who don't know, is basically a transparent film protection, so you can't see it at all, like this. It comes in glossy or matte colors, just in case you want that. We have friends who do it. And it actually allows you to protect and avoid getting direct impacts every time. It's quite nice. Now let's take a quick look inside. I'll give you another brief tour of the car. We have the large panoramic glass roof, cameras all around as always, and the handles. Here in chrome color, it really makes for a pretty nice car. If I remember correctly, you can charge from both sides. No, it's only on one side, this side. Okay. With the lights, a bit of a crystal look. That's the most interesting part. Now we're gonna take a look inside to see what's going on so I can give you some feedback on that. And here we go with the steering wheel. Come on, let's go. So we're on board this time in this Model 3 Performance. So you had this interior in black, right? You just came to see me in white.
Yes, that was the initial search, but there were some it was too complicated to find.
There were few, because it's true that fewer people chose it in white. I admit that the white still made me dream a little.
And then the blue and white combo was really, really nice, but...
Too bad, honestly. So here, inside, you can see we have a bit of Alcantara. That's not original, actually. It's
wood. Normally, thanks. It's normally wood. And I wasn't really a fan. I was wondering what the wood was doing, but here there's black veneer, Alcantara. So I found this on the internet. Well, it does the job.
Many sites now sell numerous accessories for Tesla, which is remarkable.
It's a geek's car above all, so there are really a lot of sites for ridiculously low prices. You can customize it in every way, sometimes...
Too much, actually. That's true. Like that little phone holder you put on the back with a kind of frame where you can attach several mounts. Yeah, but I think you can put quite a lot of things. So the console, which is honestly yours and perfect. Then Emeric, who is a former automotive professional. I'm always impressed by the large two-part glass roof. That's what I really like. The white is truly white. At the same time, it does that for you. Sure, it breaks up the lines a bit, but on the other hand, it brings a lot of rigidity. The car, but it's actually pretty good. The glove compartment, there's a glove compartment on it. You have to go through the menu every time, the doors that open, so the electric way like that. You know, oh yeah, that's right. Here's the manual mode. It's true that people don't mention that often enough. And it's not something with two phone holders. If we went inside, then...
It's not original. In this case, it's aftermarket. It's a holder that allows for wireless charging.
Okay, that wasn't on the first models? On the first models? No, so...
Only the second ones are original. There's actually no opening system.
Directly the phone. Okay, so otherwise, it was by cable to exchange by...
Cable, exactly.
That's good to know. You see, I didn't remember that. I think I tried the one that had a direct phone holder in...
Alcantara was present on some versions, but not all.
Okay, I just turned it down a little bit. The noise from the air conditioning. Okay, so what's also nice about the air conditioning is that you can precondition the cabin. How many kilometers do you usually get on the battery before recharging? Do you recharge every night? It doesn't matter. In the evening, I recharge it. Or do you say, when I get to 10 or 15%, I really go and charge it?
So it depends. I work from home, so I leave in the morning, I go to my different appointments, and in the evening, as soon as I'm done, on average, I drive 200 kilometers daily. In the evening, I automatically plug in very often. I do it. It depends on the day, and it also depends on the weather. But yeah, often I end up with between 80 and 20%, usually in the winter. I get around 300 kilometers of range, give or take. I'm not the type to wait until the last minute to recharge, you know? And then in the summer, I think it's easier to reach 400 kilometers. This model struggles more to maintain range in winter compared to Phase 2 models, as it lacks a heat pump system.
For heating, it actually uses a bit more energy. Yeah, okay, I'm ready. Yeah, it's true that...
It gets warm pretty quickly here.
Yeah, it might kick in a little bit, knowing that...
I haven't changed my driving style.
Because...
When switching from a gas to an electric car, people often assume they'll adopt an eco-friendly driving style. I'm not an eco-friendly person then. So yeah, I drive, like I don't hesitate to use the heater, the air conditioning, the music and so on. Anyway, that's it, and I drive, that's it.
Normally, it's also good in a way to have this philosophy of saying, okay, I'm changing my car, not because I have to, and just saying that's it. It adds a kind of difficulty to my life because I have to adapt to the electric side of things, etc. Being able to say, well, no, I'm going to drive the same way. I'm not thinking too much about it. That's still an advantage. But above all, you can charge at home. Yes, that's still very convenient, isn't it? At first, you couldn't charge at home, right? I think so, no. I used to go to Carrefour, Boss Carrefour. So if you hadn't been able to install charging stations at home, would you have still kept an electric car, even with the hassle of having to go charge it?
Yes, I think so. Actually, I have friends who do it, but yes, I think I would have done it. I would have done it anyway. So there's always the option to charge with a standard outlet, but it's true that with a standard outlet, it still takes a really long time straightforward. But yes, I think I would have done it, I think. Okay.
Isn't that still quite annoying? So if you had something to recharge not too far from your place, with that fast charging you had?
First at 1850 kilowatts, so that
Takes roughly 20-25 minutes to change the part.
it was 1 kilometer from my house on the left at...
Acting like a left skull. Bro, thank you, brother. But I think the Tesla is still cool, and you see, it's really nice. The electric part, we
Enjoyed it. The silence is pretty strange, honestly. When I had the Corvette, I went to our friends at ProWeld to modify the exhaust to make it louder, etc. And I started to enjoy that. But I think it's the ideal purchase to have an ultra-versatile car with a reasonable budget, reasonable maintenance, and ultimately to have high-end vehicle performance. And on the side, honestly, I'd be the type to buy one. A 205 Grand Touring injection to get back the pleasure of a combustion engine without necessarily reaching crazy speeds or having 500 horsepower, etc. But I think, yes, a Tesla and a small combustion engine car on the side, kind of a young timer, I think that could be the right way to go.
But I knew people and had friends who had really nice cars. There, you know, to go that way, and it's straight ahead. I have a friend who had a McLaren, who had a Tesla Model 3 Performance, and he used the Model 3 Performance and the McLaren for fun, for real. Personally, I really think the combo of an electric car for the week plus a fun car for the weekend, there's nothing better than that. Currently, the Tesla Model 3 Performance. You're telling me it's worth 25 years, about 25,000 euros, between 25 and 30,000. It's still pretty incredible to have that much power for 25,000 euros. There's nothing, and yet it's a recent car. You see, 2019, it has all the onboard technologies. We still have a car that's quite
classy.
You see, the interior, the sound is pretty incredible in this car. I think so. I've always found that crazy with Tesla. To think that we have a sound system with two sound bars, one in the front, one in the back, it really covers the whole cabin. The screen was super modern at the time. When it came out, everyone thought, no way, they just put a computer screen there. The global positioning system is still amazing. So 2019, do you ever get bugs? Does that happen to you? Or
No, I don't have bugs, I get regular updates. So what's pretty funny is that in the end, even if the vehicle is old, there are still improvements. Very regular, so it's actually pretty convenient. And you were talking about like the car's sound system. Fortunately, we have a high quality audio system that provides a strong sense of immersion, even though we can't hear the engine. And to go back to my last daily car, the Mercedes. Strangely, even though it's a Mercedes and everything you might expect from a premium brand, the quality of the finish, the assembly and so on, wasn't necessarily up to par. So it was quote-unquote just a CLA, it wasn't an S-Class. But I ended up having to take apart my door panels to insulate them and so on. The sound quality wasn't great when I turned up the volume and my door panels were vibrating. And even more so the IVR, since the plastics weren't expanded, so it was pretty crazy. And today, on a car that, in the end, is an American car, with everything we know about American vehicles. I expected to have mediocre finishing, mediocre build quality, and in the end, I don't really have any unwanted vibrations, even when I turn up the volume. There you go.
No, but it's good to know, and above all, that's what's important, like we said earlier. The electric car's cabin is nearly silent, making even the faintest creak from plastic or other materials immediately noticeable. It's true that you don't even notice the stiffened suspension on the two ladies. We hardly have any unwanted noises. Even today, you see the car handling itself differently depending on the location. Comfort level depends on the route taken. Though the car was still beaten up yesterday, the comfortable side remains intact. Personally, I think that electric is ideal. You see, if I had the money, I would get a Taycan Sport Turismo Turbo S for every day. It's clearly the craziest car. At the same time, if you have money and you like supercars, and on the side you have a real car, it's enjoyable because it's great. As I was saying, for 25,000, the best purchase is a Tesla Model 3 Performance. And I think that right now it has really lost a lot of value. Will it lose even more value than that? I think that before it drops below 20,000 euros, it's going to be complicated in my opinion. Otherwise, it will still require several years. And if you tell me that you've had it for quite some time, you haven't had any major issues.
I have no problems really, nothing at all, right? And yet I drive it, I really use it in all conditions, whether it's the weather, driving and so on. Honestly, really I have. For now, I haven't had any problems. And then now it's...
What's good? We say there's no maintenance, no timing belt, oil change, engine warning light, or need to open the hood anymore. Like the poor guy here who was calling his insurance, I think, because his hood was up. And well, it can also happen to have problems with electric cars. Let's not kid ourselves. A car is like any other machine, such as a phone or washing machine. When it's something that operates, you can have problems, but it's interesting to get feedback like this. Don't hesitate, if you also own a Tesla, to leave your feedback in the comments. If you have a reliable car, if you've had any problems, how did it get resolved? The only thing I've heard, because we try to be completely transparent on this channel, is people who have bodywork or accident issues with Teslas. From what I understand, they have a few affiliated body shops, and basically they have one garage for about 10,000 Teslas. And it can be complicated, or it can take quite a while to do bodywork or painting, or if there's an accident, it's...
It happened to a friend and he had a bumper, front bumper and headlight. And in the end, I think it was 6 months of downtime, so that's still extremely long. Tesla's after-sales service is a disaster. Clearly, let's be honest, they don't care about their customers at all. They sell vehicles like few dealerships do. We're delivered like when you buy an iPhone, there's no demonstration or anything. You get your vehicle and then depart to sort things out independently. So it's true that the after-sales service isn't great. At Tesla, that's the weak point of the
brand. But for you, when you had your issue with the control arm, it went well.
Honestly, it's confusing. Leaving the car in the parking lot, not being able to talk to anyone. And then, in the end, there's very little interaction with the customer. You actually talk to an app to request the detailed invoice and so on. I was really handling everything through a chat on the app, so yeah.
The people there simply show you what to do. They guide you on where to click on the computer. It's the same when buying a car. They're there to demonstrate and provide advice.
Salespeople, there are salespeople at the dealership, but as for the whole after-sales service part, that means I wait in my area with others who are getting their vehicles maintained. But the people who sell at the dealership aren't there to inform us about the after-sales service or to let us know what the technician is doing on the vehicle. It's through the app that we communicate with people who are, I believe, upstairs. From what I understood at the dealership, they are aware of what's happening in the department.
Workshop, so...
There you go. That's impressive.
It's very beautiful, where Jesus... When you're a passenger, it's always different, it's horrible, it's crazy. How does it work? So, for merging, it's true that there's no problem. Personally, I've always found it really impressive. The little thing that might be missing from Tesla is the added sound. It's when you accelerate hard, then you give it another push. There's a little something, you can hear it.
You can hear it more on this one due to the dual motor setup, with one motor located near the dashboard at the front. You can hear it more, whereas on the rear-wheel drive versions, which are called standard, you hear the little noise from the electric motor a bit less.
Exactly, because it's in the back, it's hidden. Yeah, okay, but you see, so how do you activate the autopilot? For people who don't have a Tesla yet...
Actually, you just do this, double-click, there you go, and then we...
hold the...
There are two options. Either let go completely, or position your hand as demonstrated. When entering the route, like in this example, I have...
the full self-driving.
In addition to reading the signs, it will take highway exits, etc.
That works well.
Yeah, overall, honestly. So you always have to stay alert. You can't think the car is going to be totally autonomous, but overall still, at first there were a few little bugs where sometimes it would brake really hard because just passing a truck was enough. There was the truck's shadow. And since it's through Tesla's camera system that it detects things, well, sometimes there were bugs where it would brake suddenly.
Which was surprising.
I haven't had any issues in the last few months. And that's also the advantage of Tesla. There are constant updates and changes to the settings. So it allows you to fix the little problems that might have happened before.
Okay, because it's true that most other cars use sensors.
Proximity sensors with...
ultrasound. It's true that Tesla is just cameras. That's right. They have cameras up there, here, and also here. plus the one at the back. What you need to know is that even the new Model Y, they put a camera at the front for parking. That's actually pretty good. For you, do you have the distance displayed in centimeters when you park?
Look, it's not because I have cameras, but because I have sensors. It's not the cameras, it's the sensors.
For parking. Yeah, that's it. If you could improve something on this car, what would it be?
If I had to make an improvement on this one, in any case, it would be to switch to double glazing on the highway when you're going at 130 or less. You get wind noise and the feeling that the window isn't fully closed. Sometimes I've tried to roll up my window when it was already up, but I still heard air noises coming from here. By the way, there are aftermarket seal kits that can improve the tightness. So yeah, I think some people have even changed the windows. You can switch to double glazed windows. You can order windows from a 2021 or 2022 model. No, that's it. Aside from the small improvements I've made to the vehicle, that's my main criticism, but I'm just being picky. And maybe it's just my professional bias from my old job, but the quality of the varnish and the paint isn't quite there, and also the alignment of the panels, the doors, the fenders, and so on. But again, when you look at the price of these vehicles and everything they offer, it's a bit hard to complain, that's for sure. And for
You, the interior?
For me, it works. At first, it's definitely confusing. When you come from a vehicle that's not a Tesla, you're used to having buttons everywhere, and then you get into a Tesla. Users often complain about the lack of buttons or any clear guidance on what to do next. It's very confusing at first. And actually, you kind of have to relearn how to drive when you get into a vehicle, when you switch from a gas-powered car to an electric one. The fact that you hardly ever brake anymore, by the way, at 90,000 kilometers. I still have my original discs and pads. There are a lot of things you have to relearn. Like the other day, I have my friend who he took his Tesla in for bodywork and had a Fiat 500 as a loaner vehicle for 6 months. He left his car running when he went to work, forgetting to turn off the ignition and engine after getting out. These are reflexes that you lose when you start driving an electric vehicle, especially a Tesla. That's it. There's no button, because in the end,
It's the same. As soon as you approach the car with your phone, it detects it. Your phone is the key. That's it. You can do a lot of things with your phone, monitor the cameras. That's it. By the way, you had something extra installed on your car, which is, what's it called? It's the speaker on the outside.
yes, the boombox. Since it's a 2019, it didn't have a boombox. So the speaker that's in the front bumper, which lets you have fun making different sounds and so on. On the outside, since I referred someone, I had credit on the Tesla app, because when you refer someone who buys a vehicle, that person gets a discount and I get some credit. Or to charge the vehicle at the charging station, or to buy things for myself on the Tesla shop directly on the app, and for 200 euros. A young lady ranger came to my house, lifted the car and plugged in the speaker. She updated the computer, resulting in me getting a boombox that I didn't have before. On phase 1,
Okay, but phase 2, she had it, yes. Okay, that's interesting. By the way, if you want, we'll put your affiliate or referral link in the description. If you want to buy a Tesla, feel free to use Emeric's link. It's always nice if we can help a friend rather than just buying like that. Ultimately, it will benefit you, be interesting, and make me happy as well. If you add an option to your Tesla or charge at a supercharger, I'll invite you to McDonald's. I prefer that. Kentucky Fried Chicken currently has a spicy chicken wrap that I tried last week. It's really good. I'll make an effort to get it again. By the way, which brand are you, or rather McDonald's, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Burger King, Quick, which is getting less and less common? I think so too. It's a bit of a shame. It's true. It was pretty cool. That's true. But honestly, no. I like it. Would I want it in electric for everyday use? It's hard for me. Austin can do a U-turn, but that's it. And if you had to buy another car, would you get an electric one again?
Yes. My friend was very proud of himself for having his Tesla in the body shop for 6 months, because for years, let's be honest, being pro-gasoline, I used to make fun of him by comparing his car to a mere battery. And today, driving a Tesla since the end of 2023 every day, I can't see myself switching to anything else. And by the way, to be honest with you, I'm keeping an eye on the value of the Model S Plaid, which is gradually going down. And I'm thinking that in 2027, it's quite possible that I'll let myself be tempted.
How much does a Model S Plaid cost?
Today, Right now, the cheapest ones are around 85,000 euros, about 80 to 85,000 euros.
But the first ones were worth about 120, I think. Yes, that's it. No, it wasn't expensive at first. Then they went down to around 120. You think it was 150. 150 went down to 120. Indeed, okay. It's still not exactly cheap. When you see, for example, a Taycan and how it has its sides, it really seems like a trend. Yes, the Taycan stands out. It's impressive that in just 3 to 3.5 years, we've reduced it by 50% on the
Cars, no, that's low. In terms of looks, I prefer the Taycan or an e-tron Gran Turismo. Recently, I think I saw an e-tron Gran Turismo Rennsport. The look is really, let's be honest, much better than Tesla, but apparently reliability isn't necessarily at the
level. So
there you go, but still the S-Ped does have a nice look. And I think that given how much Tesla's value is dropping, I think maybe there will be some around 65 to 70K by 2027. Why not give in to temptation? I mean, for that kind of budget, having 1020 horsepower is still pretty mind-blowing.
clearly there are quite a few people at Vas-y. Give us a little acceleration again, just for fun. It's pretty intense though. Yeah, it's not unpleasant. It's very surprising every time. I think it must be confusing for people. So I think people now, if they're made, but you see back then I had a friend. An early video on the channel featured Kevin, who had purchased a dual motor Tesla. I rewatched the video. So hello anyway, thinking of you. He was the one who ordered a Cybertruck and is waiting for it to arrive because he's a huge fan of Tesla. He said that with his dual motor back then, whenever there was a C63 Aufrecht Melcher Gross Asbach or any other car, his little dual motor could keep up. But he would leave everyone behind, you know? It's pretty impressive. People who like cars often have a bit of that. This little rivalry happens on the road, in acceleration and so on. But what about that? Actually, even if you have an Aventador next to you, if you're in 5th gear and you floor it, him. By the time he downshifts from 5th to 2nd gear to accelerate and the engine revs up, we tested this with Thierry.
By the way, with his Gran Turismo 4 Rennsport, and actually when we floored it, I don't know, we must have started at 60, 70. We were in Germany, by the way, and up to 150, 160. I was ahead, but then he passed me again. Yeah, it's quite true.
Impressive. It's quite confusing actually. And most people who have these cars, they say, ah, damn, well, despite the joys of a combustion engine and manual shifting, the instant response of an electric vehicle is simply mind-blowing. Even a quick start at a traffic light can cause it. But honestly, it's incredibly far ahead of everyone else. I admit, when you love acceleration and power and so on, it's indeed a really nice aspect, you know? It's exhilarating on a daily basis to think that nothing can keep up with me, even from a standstill. To have something that goes from 0 to 100 in about 3 seconds, you really have to talk about it. Having something like 4-wheel drive with a twin-turbo V8.
That's going to require maintenance and so on. Again, once more, I'm
not going back to
the fact that I prefer to choose if the budget was unlimited. On a daily basis, people ask me to choose between a Tesla Model 3 Performance and an Audi Rennsport 6. If the fuel budget was unlimited, I wouldn't hesitate for a second. But here, in terms of price, performance, and daily cost, I think there's nothing better.
So just to remind you, you only pay for electricity, right? And over 40,000 kilometers, you only change the rear tires. Exactly. The front tires still look really good. Yeah, it's fine. So I think you should be able to do at least 60,000 kilometers with one set of tires. And you like to have a bit of fun? When do you put them on?
I'm surprised because the tires look sturdy considering they're taking all the hits, but yeah, it's fine.
And how much did it cost you? For the rear tires?
If I remember correctly, it was 550 to 600 euros for the 2 tires, including installation.
Which is still very reasonable. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, for a somewhat sporty car, yeah, no, that's fine. If you have any questions in the comments, don't hesitate to ask. We'll do our best to answer them. And honestly, it's cool. The back seats, the heated seats, everything is heated. You can do it from the app and everything. The car was a pioneer in allowing full control from a phone. Now, all brands are trying to implement this feature. And it's true that it's nice, like that Sentry mode you like. I know that as a
real neat freak, well, there you go. Sentry mode is still really handy. Remote vehicle monitoring, being able to actually set up the heating for whatever time you want and so on. It sets the temperature you want. All the seats are heated. Well, it's true that the vehicle's location feature is useful in case you park somewhere and forget where you parked. That's it. The automatic exit feature is available on this one at least. So if I'm in a Thai parking spot, I know sometimes Parisian parking lots are a bit cramped, I can move the vehicle out without being inside. Well, all these little features, in the end, once again, they're not very important, but it's something you get used to them in the end. They become little gadgets that you use regularly. Okay.
No, but interesting. So are you happy with it in the end?
Yeah, very happy. It's kind of crazy to say that. Still, I've had a bunch of cars, but yeah, for the price, I think it's worth it. That's why I don't see myself switching to another vehicle, because this...
Price, how much did you pay for it? One thing that really surprised me was that 38 kilometers is very, very little from memory. Yes, a Renault Zoe, it was worth 38,000 euros, fully loaded for us and me. It hurt my little heart a bit. When I found out the price I had for this car, I had seen the spec sheet, but otherwise it's not possible. And when you say you're going to see that, and now a Model 3 Performance was previously under 30,000, but I believe it was worth around 55,000 to 58,000, depending on the selected options, if I recall correctly.
The problem is that the biggest option, which in the end wasn't really that interesting in Europe, is the full self-driving that I have. The option was at 7,500. I think it goes up to 60-something thousand. When you chose a blue or red color or things like that, the white leather interior, well, it could quickly add up in the end, so... Okay.
So yes, it remains. And you, for example, in your job, is this car well regarded? Do you have a job? Did you have a C63 MG when you came back then? I know you sometimes like to go for certain services, which could be complicated.
Yeah. Actually, when I started, no, it's even worse. When I started, I work in real estate, I'm self-employed.
And when?
When I started, I had a Porsche, so it was complicated to go to meetings. And I told myself that buying a so-called taxi car, I thought I'd get a C63. No one knows it. Well, anyway, there you go. But in the end, very quickly, I got noticed. So, well, that's why it's with the Tesla. The advantage is that, well, there are no preconceived notions. The clients, well, it goes pretty well. No, I don't have a problem with the vehicle, the image it might give off. And regarding my activity as a real estate agent...
So you've been a real estate agent for a few years? Yeah, actually, for a while we worked together, for those who follow me. From the beginning, I was a real estate agent with Emeric, who had recruited me to his team. So today, how many people do you have working with you?
You on the team? Today, we are between 200 and 220 people between France and Portugal.
So that's what you developed? Yes, it's you who trains these people a little and supports them little by little in real estate, which allows you, business-wise, to be able to work for yourself as an independent agent and at the same time develop a team. It's pretty
interesting. I have a dual role, and in the end, working as a team makes it possible. It allows us to offer, how should I say, services and skills that we put at the service of our clients. It's still very practical. We can bring our expertise all over France and also in Portugal, as I mentioned earlier. So it's a real advantage. We develop daily through my training and recruiting efforts, and many team members also contribute to the team's growth. It's really a well-structured network where everyone can contribute their part to the project. So we recruit every day, even beginners.
Okay, well, for example, I knew a little bit about real estate, but I had never done any training. I joined your network. What was also good about your network was that we didn't have to pay any monthly fees at all. Selling a few properties as a real estate agent allowed me to start this job, to be honest. You can still make a good living if you work as much as someone who does a 9-to-5 job. Clearly, you will make a very good living if you invest yourself. You decided to make the choice to build teams or do a bit of production for yourself, but at the same time develop. I do both. And what's good is that it benefits you afterwards. In the end, how can I say a kind of recurring income every month? Thanks to the people from Thorn who develop, in the end, your goal is for those who work with you to develop as best as possible for themselves. It allows you to have an income.
Additional, so that everyone in the end can thrive in the profession. Because it's true that everyone talks about real estate, everyone wants to get into it and so on. You have to know that it's still a real profession where you need to be committed. And in this case, I can speak from experience. I'm almost 39 years old, and I think I've invested a lot, maybe at the expense of my personal life. But it's true that when you invest yourself, you really get something back. And so it's a real job where clients need to be supported, reassured, and guided. And then, well, because honestly, we have to be there for people who sometimes go into debt for 15 or 25 years. So these are things to take seriously.
Okay, just in case, I'll put Emeric's email address here for you. If you're interested in getting into real estate like this, you can send him a quick message and he'll show you everything. Because I know many are just starting out and it's an adventure worth attempting. If you're interested and you want to make a good living, be independent, I do it myself. For a while, I switched more towards YouTube because actually YouTube is really a job that allowed me to thrive and really have a great time. So I know that very few people can do YouTube, but I actually work a lot more doing YouTube. In terms of time invested, I earned about 10 times more from my real estate career, and I had some really nice experiences. But I think with real estate, we'll work together again in a few years. When I've done what I need to do and had enough fun. And when I'll really need to go back to work so that I too can buy myself a nice car one day. Unless you're all really nice and you all subscribe to this channel and we hit 1 million like big YouTubers, and then I could really make a good living. But if real estate, well, I really liked it, so I'll probably go back to it. Your contract is ready, so very close. It's better if he gets others to sign it directly. Honestly, you can join the adventure in half an hour. It's pretty incredible. And you can start working in the field as soon as the next day. Well, anyway, Brick, thanks for this walk. And also, this feedback on the Tesla Model 3 performance, which, as you said, is starting to interest people. And if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and don't hesitate to subscribe. To feature your car on the channel, email me using the address in the About section. You have my email address. Just send me a quick message with the model you have. And that's it. Once again, thank you, Emeric, who was happy to do this. It was really cool. We're happy to answer any questions you leave in the comments. See you in the next video. Mike, thank you and goodbye.